How's it going, Internet? Welcome to another TikToks. I'm Ripcardo, and today I'm joined by my friend AJ, and we have quite a bit to talk about, I think. I've got some set of questions as the usual, but first, let's just get right to it. AJ, introduce yourself for us. Tell us a little bit what you do.
So my name is Garces. Used to be a full-time streamer. Now I'm just full-time content creator. Having a child really puts a damper on your streaming schedule.
I can imagine.
Yeah, for sure. But I was a full-time streamer. I'm still a full-time content creator. And I do everything under the sun.
I figured. I think I have a question that directly addresses, because I know you're multifaceted, multi-talented.
Okay.
So we'll get to that in a moment. But you've been doing this for some time now, right? Where did you get your start? Necessarily, you used to be a full-time streamer, now you're a full-time content creator. Where did you get your start with creating content itself?
Dang, that's it. Everyone always asks, like, when did you start on Twitch? But I actually started making content when I was, like, 14 years old. And it was just playing with a camcorder from, like, my friends at school,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just how it starts.
I think I share something similar in the sense, not with the camcorder, but just at friends with school. I had this class. It was like a Photoshop learning class thing, and if we were smart enough and good enough to do our work early, our teacher would let us play LAN games. So we'd play like Killing Floor, and we'd play like Kerbal Space Program and Spore and stuff like that. And so we were talking one day, and I was playing Spore, and I don't know how it got to, but essentially it convinced me to start like uploading videos to it, and it was god awful. The audio was too loud.
So bad.
Yeah, like I did a stream a while back about rewatching those early videos. Gosh, oh my soul.
Yeah. I like, you go back and you look, and I'm like, oh, I edited this on iMovie, 2007, and it's all grainy, and and it's just so weird compared to like now, which I like look at stuff I'm like doing now, and everything's like polished, and the audio is good, and like 4K, and then I'm like, what was I doing back then? But I feel like you just got to start somewhere.
And I mean, the lovely thing is that back then we'd look at that and we'd just be like, damn, I'm good. Like,
yeah, we did it.
Yeah,
we freaking did it.
And it was just an accomplishment to have something done. But that's amazing. I like to know, right? A lot of people, I guess nowadays too, when you start streaming on Twitch and stuff like that, a lot of people will be like, oh, how long have you been streaming for? Like you mentioned, how long have you been doing this or that for? But a lot of times this starts from forever ago, right? It's a trickle down.
Oh yeah.
Back when Twitch didn't exist, there were still things to be done, and whether they're online now or not, a lot of people get their start from, who knows?
Yeah, I was like obsessed with those Smosh videos back in the day, and that's when I was just like, well, that's what I want to do. I was like, I want to make dumb videos on the internet.
I'll never forget. I think the one that always sticks with me is they were doing like real life Pokemon battles.
Yep.
And stuff like that, and I mean, I don't know, like Smosh is still doing stuff nowadays, I think, but it's changed a lot. And they're huge, right?
Oh yeah, of course. Now they're more like gaming stuff now.
I believe it too. I think
so.
The girlfriend loves watching. They do like a reality TV show type thing where it's like
that's cool.
Survivor or something like that, and it still looks like Smosh, just like at a grander scale. So it's nice to see still.
Yeah, I mean, you can't like it because I make a lot of my pretty much every piece of big content I've ever done. I've had my best friend Ignacio Trevino as a collaborator, and that was like where we got it. It was just like Ian Hecox and freaking, oh my gosh, I always forget the other guy's name, but the two dudes from Smosh, Ian Hecox and Anthony Padilla, like just seeing those two dudes and like their friendship and all the weird comedy and ideas that came out of that's what pushed me to be like a content creator. It's just like me and my friends just want to make silly videos.
And it's super cool to hear that that stuff lasts for them and lasts for tons of people too. And getting into a little bit of that, so like I mentioned earlier, multifaceted, a man of many interests. As you've gone through your journey, can you share a bit of like, I guess, the gems or like your personal favorites? Maybe not what you were best at, or what was most successful, but what was your moments, whatever hobbies or content creation things you got into that you really, really liked?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's like weird to say that because I can't really like necessarily reminisce on like the bits of content that I thought were, I mean, every single TikTok I've ever made, because TikTok has been such a big part of my life now.
Huge.
TikTok is what not only put me like onto the platform as somebody with larger numbers, but it also like opened up this world into being a voice actor that I never was going to explore until TikTok happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, as one big block, I have to, be very thankful and appreciate all the support I've gotten on TikTok. I'm working on a short film now.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is probably one of my it's my first time actually, instead of being on camera, stepping behind a camera as like a camera operator, and it's been what I've been working on for the past like couple of weeks, and it's by far probably my favorite piece of content to date.
That's super cool to hear, actually. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's just been like having an idea and then sitting down and writing an entire movie and then storyboarding it out and then actually being able to see that come to life. Just me, I've been spending hours at night just in my office editing this movie, and every time I do a new pass on it, and I'm like, it just keeps getting better.
That's awesome. It's super
crazy.
Cool.
I also scored this movie myself, so I wrote all the music for it.
That's actually super neat. like you get to put all those notches on the belt.
Mm-hmm. And it's the first time. I mean, it's the first time I've ever written music for a movie. It's the first time I've ever shot a movie, and it's also the first time that I've completely finished a movie, from paper, and actually followed through with it. You can write a million ideas, but until that idea actually becomes something tangible, like. So those are my highlights right now. Like,
no,
TikTok
super
is
cool.
a highlight, and then this movie is going to be a highlight. I promise.
I'm already looking forward to it because I have seen some of your previous works, and I know how much influence you had in the sense of like being behind and directing it. But I remember you had a few shorts, right, when you were trying to like you applied for like I think there was the G Fuel one, right, and you were doing that. And there was G Fuel Man on TikTok and all that stuff. So I've seen that AJ Garces spark on screen before, but a feature film.
I mean, it's a short film, essentially. It's not quite feature length, but it's definitely the more grandiose of a project I've ever done before. I did have a little bit of experience, directing, but this is my first time actually going, hey, let me not be the guy on camera and let me be the guy behind the camera that, takes a look at the world and shows you how it's supposed to look. And that's a completely different ballgame.
I believe, and one of the things that interested me the most personally is your experience with storyboarding. Like I like storyboarding. I did a little bit of storyboarding for some time too. It's interesting, and I think it's really like amazing to see when you look at the boards and you see it translated onto the actual screen and stuff like that. So, did you have experience doing that before? How'd that kind of come about? How'd you feel about it?
I mean, I've done like minimal storyboarding as far as like content goes. I did some storyboarding for the shorts that we did for G Fuel. But I don't know. I feel like being able to kind of appreciate and acknowledge that there is a process to how these things get done. When you were younger, you didn't understand that you got to write a script, you got to storyboard the project before you just, turn a camera on and shoot. And so now I've kind of fallen in love with the process, and, I become in age more patient as a person, because that's the thing is you have an idea and you go, I want to put it out now. But I'm telling you, I've had some of these ideas for, the short film that we're doing now was finished in, I want to say like probably September of,
last year,
not even, probably 2019.
2 years ago. It's been in the making.
Like this, it has been in the making, and I finally was like, let's pull the trigger on it. And, we did it right. We storyboarded, we scripted, and we found the right people to play the parts. We, scouted locations, and I feel like it's kind of like how they say, like, the best part is the journey. That was what the best part is. I love sitting back and being able to see all this stuff go. So I do have some experience in storyboarding a bit, and I want to do more. I honestly want to do more.
I can relate to that in the sense of getting that appreciation, right? This didn't really happen to me until I got in college. I took like a film class because it was just like to fill out credit and stuff like that. Not only with that, but just some of my personal interest exploring the steps, the process. And now when I watch a movie or play a game, even when I got a degree in game design, so I know a little bit more of how the behind the scenes work. When I watch something and I consume something, you can't help but just be like, oh, I think I know how they did that, or oh, I want to see how this works, or like I understand why this is like this is, and it's like a whole nother world, right? So if you have an interest, pushing it and pursuing it and turning it into something, tangible, like you said, right?
Absolutely.
Goes a long way. That's really exciting. I like it just sounds so cool, especially because you've done things, you've had experience doing stuff, and just the fact that you're so hands on with so many different things, the score, the writing, everything, and
that's only the first film. There's the second one.
Oh, we got another one coming. Is it?
There's another one that's actually a CGI stop motion film.
That's super cool. Stop motion is super neat. I'm curious to see how the CGI part comes into play, but not to spoil it.
Yeah, not to spoil it. That's another thing that I've kind of started dabbling in is 3D like Blender model design. And I work with some people currently that are very, very talented when it comes to 3D modeling and design. And so I wrote this movie, and I was like, because we were having like a conversation about like Tim Burton or something like that. And they're like, well, I'd love to work in stop motion. I was just like, well, what if it was like a 3D stop motion film? And I had recently been reading the biography of Dr. Seuss.
Oh, nice.
And so I got really inspired one night, and I wrote this script for another short film, and they immediately were like, let's go.
I'm in.
Let's put it in, so it's so strange to like have an idea, like flesh it out, and then for someone to be like, oh yeah, let's make it happen.
And that's the thing too, like surrounding yourself with people that are interested, not only interested, but willing to do things that you want to do too, I'm sure goes a long way. And, I've had some chances and people, right? It's people that I work with now helping me do tournaments and stuff like that. Like doing it alone is incredibly more difficult. I'm glad that not only are you finding your support, I'm glad that I have people that are able to support me in my project and stuff like that, and it's just
absolutely
super exciting to hear. Man, I don't mean to push it here, but if there's a red carpet, I'm just saying, right?
You'll be there. You'll be there, buddy. I'm gonna send you a little snippet of the first movie after we're done. I promise.
That sounds super neat. Also, I'll put the other videos for you guys in the description. We can talk about, so you can see the G Fuel Man, you can see some of the other stuff, and so that you're not missing out, and just a little taste, just a little taste. See what it tastes like. I love Nacho Libre so much. Get that corn out of my face.
Yes, it was so funny. My wife texted me this morning, and she goes like, "Big keys, little big keys, little kid," and I texted her back, and I was like, would you like to join me in my quarters for some toast? And then she just sent me back that gif of Jack Black eating toast and Nacho Libre.
Oh God,
it's a wonderful movie.
I love it. Okay, so this is I guess diverging just a tiny bit, right? But we've talked a bit about your life, your experience as an entertainer. But like you mentioned earlier, there's been a big change in your life recently. As you're now a father. You have a lot of things to go on about. So how is that? How's the life of entertainer mixing with the life of father? How'd you find the balance?
There is no balance.
Nice.
There's no balance. I'm gonna tell you, because that's what a lot of people don't understand is when you create content full time, it's not just making a thing and putting it out. You're putting in hours of video editing, you're editing photos, you're creating different ideas, and you're constantly figuring out your next piece of content, and that is time consuming. And so the life of a content creator, you don't sleep. You prioritize your success before you sleep. And as a father, you don't sleep either. So now I double not sleep.
Nice.
Which is absolutely insane, but I would not. And I got to give a lot of credit to my wife, because she does like the bulk of watching him because I'm the one, I have to provide. So I have to work, I have to create. But honestly, the moments that I get away from a computer screen just to spend a little bit of time with him are worth every bit of sleep that I don't get.
I can imagine, and I know that, right? Like the thing is too that, you know, a lot of people still sadly like view an artist as a machine that just churns out thing after thing. But the problem is that you don't see inside it that before anything even gets on paper, before we even start, if they're like me, if you're like me, we're hypercritical, and it has to be just right, and all that adds more time. And so all these extra external pressures like having to keep a schedule, life, family, all these other things add on to that, and you have to just kind of power through it. So I'm still looking at it. There's a lot of I guess like troubles going on right now with like artists, and there's like some I don't really understand a lot of it, but there's some stuff going on in the art industry right now that is seemingly going to harmfully impact a lot of people, and that's coming from the mindset of people still don't understand that not only is this worth time, it's worth effort, it's worth money too, right? Like I'll pay you an exposure, I'll I can do what you can do, or the computer does all the work, right? So
Yeah.
all these things on top of now what you have to do, I'm sure it's a lot of work, but I gotta say, as much as I know we're not machines, I always look up to your efforts and to you, and I'm like, man, he is out there, he is pushing it, he is getting it, and I see you trying different things and always exploring new opportunities and things like that. And so you're a beacon. You're a bit of a beacon.
I have to because so many people, you know, they become parents, and then they take that ideal or that dream they had, and they completely throw it out the window and go, I'm going to get my regular job and I'm going to be a parent, which, I mean, more power to you, but I just don't have that in me. I don't have that in me, and I know that I will be a better parent if I'm a happier person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a happier person when I'm writing and creating and, you know, and everything that I do.
And the thing is too that passion at times is also an obsession, right? Like, you know, if you went like got a standard 9 to 5 and all this other stuff, you wouldn't stop thinking about doing what you're doing, right? I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that maybe for the time being or for in general have conceded some like larger goals or dreams in order to focus on what's in front of them. Which again, power to you, to each his own. In due time, right? There's a lot of life left to live out there, but you know the mind never sleeps.
Absolutely.
Even when we literally don't sleep, you know, you'll have a dream and you'll wake up and you'll be like, I gotta do that. That's what I've been missing. That's exactly what I gotta do. And you know, you jot it down, and just, you know, living a life where you just go to work at the office max. You just get all these opportunities. You'd have all these ideas. You'd be like, I wish I had the opportunity to do them. So it's awesome. I'm rooting for you. I'm pushing for your success as well, so that you can still live, you know, this life that you seek.
Appreciate it.
And this ties into my next question. So short films, G Fuel Man, a lot of milestones hit, right? What's the big goal? Where is it that you want to be?
Ultimately, I mean, between the short films, I also kind of have my hands in a couple of TV pilot ideas. Honestly, to be able to just take these ideas and, you know, put them in front of as many people as possible. You know, I'm being somebody that I'm learning to love being behind a camera more than being on a camera. So, you know, seeing something being made into a television show, whether that be on Netflix or Hulu or wherever, and then, you know, one day, I feel like my brain capacity has not got there yet, but one day being able to even just create one feature length film that, I mean, everyone can see it or no one can see it, just to say that I did it, because I don't ever want to leave a single stone unturned. You know, I'm never going to say that I had a regret that I didn't do anything, because I've literally tried everything. You know, I was a stand-up comedian. I'm still a stand-up comedian. I mean, COVID kind of that, but
Yep.
So I'm going to go back to it. You know, I'm a comedian, I'm a musician, I'm a writer, I'm a producer, I'm an editor, I'm a color grader, I'm a, you know, composer now. I'm a Twitch streamer, I'm a gamer, I'm a brand ambassador. You know, there's not a single thing that, you know, and people are always like, you got to slow down. Like, you're gonna burn yourself out. And I'm like, how am I going to be fulfilled at the end of my life if I know that there were stones in this world that I didn't turn over to see, hey, maybe that could have been a thing. So I
That
think
makes sense to me.
the ultimate goal is to just continue to turn stones, and hopefully one of those stones that I turn is going to be what's on my actual headstone at the end of my life.
I really like how you phrase that, of just trying to turn stones, because a lot of times that's just what opportunities are. You gotta do a little bit of digging. You might get your fingers dirty, but there might be something in there worth your time, and you have to keep pushing past the piles of dirt and etc. And it's tough for a lot of people. I know that life happens, right? COVID has happened, and a lot of people get locked in, and some people have gotten a lot of motivation and time to work on themselves, stuff like that, and a lot of people haven't had that opportunity yet. And so I'm here to say that, as long, right, you're told often to slow down, but I'm sure that there's even more that you could be doing. And so it's about being, at least putting one foot in front of the other and just taking it steps at a time, right? I'm sure that you didn't start out being all these different things, right? You worked your way up, doing one another, took skills from one thing that transferred into another, you build upon it, and that's just what you have to do. Once the ball starts rolling, once you push it downhill, the momentum will carry it. You just have to keep pushing it up that first hill. So, if anybody out there is thinking, man, I want to do these things, I had an idea for a movie, etc., just start, right? That's one of the hardest things to do, and I'm sure you might agree with me that just starting something
it's the hardest part.
It's terrifying.
It's 100% the most terrifying thing to do. It's just getting your first foot in the door of anything. And you might not get in all the way. You might fall at the bridge of the door, and then but I mean, you tried.
And you can get back up, right?
Yeah, and you can try again. You can keep going, Nothing I've ever done, I took a lesson from everything I've ever done, every piece of content I've ever made. I look back on the content that I made fondly, but I always go back and go, oh man, if I would have known what I know now when I did this, it would have been 10 times better. So I think that's another thing too, is I want to learn as much as I possibly can while I have the time, because I don't know. I really, really don't know.
And that's one of the beauties of it, just this not knowing and being able to still push forward and work towards some sort of eventual goal or anything like that. So I'm glad to hear, right, that you've been able to figure out something, right? Socrates, I know that I know nothing, and once you're there and you realize you don't know anything, you can really start getting to work with a lot of stuff. So my next question for you is, you've done a lot, right? And you're currently doing more things, and I'm sure that you talked about TV pilots, you talked about these movies. There might be something else later down the line you get your hands into. But when do you know that you want to switch gears? What tells you that, okay, I've done this as much as I want to right now, or as much as I feel I need to, I should try something else, or maybe I can look into something, into an alternative or anything like that?
I mean, not necessarily I guess you are switching gears in a way. It's really strange that there's almost no perfect time to switch a gear into something else. It kind of just happens. I had been planning on shooting this film for a while, and it wasn't until I almost procrastinated a while until I finally, stopped relying on anybody and was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. And it wasn't until I did it and then looked at the film and went, oh my God. I was like, I can actually do it. It's so crazy. I watched back all the raw footage that I had, and I went, I didn't even know I was capable of doing this. And at that point, that's where my brain was like, you should make more of these. It's the same thing that whenever I made my first viral TikTok, that I woke up and it had 100K views, my brain went, hey, do more of these.
There's something here.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's these just moments in your life that your brain just puts a pin in it and goes like, hey, these are working, these aren't working as much, do these more. And so And even for a while, like for the last like month, TikTok for me got a little stale. And I kind of wanted to like, I was like, I don't even know if I should continue making TikToks. And I started doing these, working on short film. And then now, like a couple of things have happened. I can't say them here, but now I'm fully invested back in making my TikTok like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of weird. It's like you exhaust all the options you have at that moment, and you just kind of put a bookmark in them. And then you notice that something else is building traction, so you go, hey, keep doing that thing. And then you figure out that, oh, hey, later down the line, you're going to have to go back and pull the bookmark out of that other thing that you're doing. And then that's when you start to juggle a bunch of different stuff. And I mean, it doesn't, and that's where, making a schedule comes in. You do a little bit here, a little bit there. But there's, you feel it when you have something that you go, oh, this is the thing. This is the thing. When I started making my voiceover TikToks, I was like, that's your goal. I was like, and here I am, 70,000 followers on TikTok later, that I continued. I went, you can do that. I kept it up, and now I'm here. And now with this short film, it's the first piece of content I've ever made where people are like, oh, this is the thing. They're like, this is going to be good. Like, I don't know if you've ever had something where people are like, don't change anything to that because it's great. This is the first time I've had something and I'm like, oh God, this is good. This is good. Where I can confidently say like, oh, this is good.
That's fantastic. And like the thing is too that, oftentimes we don't ever think about that in the sense of I can come back to it later. Right. And it's kind of like in a video game. Sometimes you'll get to an era and you'll be like, well, I can't jump that high, or I don't have the key for this. Save it for later. Right. And you have to treat some things in life similarly. You don't have the proper tools just yet, but make a mental note, come back to it, grind a few levels, and you can figure it out.
And that's why, getting into film was so stale for a while, because these are old ideas that were hashed years ago, but only recently did I come into a point where I had the proper, accoutrement to make these things tangible, a good lighting rig, a good camera, experienced people. And, now it's like you can stop. And sometimes the best thing to do when you get stuck is to just stop, walk away, and give it some time.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't remember exactly where I heard this from, but it's good to have multiple projects to work on. In case you're stuck, or in case you maybe start procrastinating on one project, you can work on another, right? You can make procrastination productive if you're working on multiple things at one time, right? So
you're never procrastinating if you have multiple things to do.
Exactly, right? You're
never a procrastinator if you have a bunch of stuff to do.
There is progress to be made in tons of things. And like we talked earlier, one step at a time, you're going to get where you want to go if you keep putting one foot in front of the other. So that's crazy. Man, that's so exciting. Actually, I'm really looking forward to a lot. And I'm not even doing it. It's still exciting.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad you're enjoying it though, cuz this is between you and I, and now I guess everybody that
and the internet
and the internet now. But there was I have one of these projects I'm working on that I immediately had written some parts, and I went, God, I was like, Rip would be really good in this.
Oh, snap.
I was like, yeah. So there's a pilot working in the works right now that's very video game heavy.
Nice.
And it's very exciting, and you're definitely one of the people that I thought like, hey, you could probably play a really good part in this.
Oh, if the part's still available, mark me down as interested.
I gotcha. I will.
We'll talk it up, but we'll save that for later.
We'll save it for when they don't know.
Yeah,
anyway.
Shh, they don't know.
Shh, they don't know it.
I don't partake of any TikTok myself. Maybe I'm just being an old curmudgeon and not, these dang fangled Zoomers and their TikTok.
Their TikToks.
Yeah, but everybody else around me seems to be into TikToks. My brothers, practically my mom, the girlfriend, my best friends, and they'll send me stuff. And so even then, I'll slip a little TikTok meme here and there. And
there you go.
One of my favorites is definitely they don't know. they're gonna know. They don't know. Like, it's just funny. But wow. Okay, so we've kind of touched on that a little bit, but essentially, I like to end every episode or so on a section fueled with advice and looking forward and helping those who may need it, right? If this is a sign, right? I saw someone on Snapchat the other day that their profile or their little story was, if you needed a sign to do something, consider this it. And I looked at that and said, all right, well, who are you to be giving out signs, pal? I'm going to do the same thing right now. If this is a sign that you should be doing something, take this as it. Do you have any advice for those that are struggling to either start or don't know where, what to start on, where to start on, what to do? Any preliminary advice on just getting their feet wet?
Flip stones.
Flip stones.
Flip stone, because flip as many stones as you can, because a majority of them are not going to be the right ones. I've flipped stones in my life where I was like, well, maybe I'm a woodworker, and I tried to
carpentry.
And I tried to build a shelf, and the shelf just fell apart, and I was just like, well, that's not my forte at all.
I tried it. IKEA thanks my good efforts, but
I've done so many things in my life just to try them and just to figure out that they weren't my thing. So if you're struggling to start something or don't know exactly where you're going to go, anything that interests you, even the slightest, try it.
And not only that too, it's like, I was going to say that if you find out something isn't what you want what you want or isn't for you, that information is invaluable. You've just narrowed down the field of things to worry about, right? You tried it, it wasn't for you, and it's like, okay, sick. Now I can focus on this. Now I can focus on that. Now I can, you get to redefine.
It's like scope. You're never going to find exactly what your thing is if you don't know exactly what things are not your thing.
Exactly. And don't be scared.
Process of elimination.
Of failure, right? Like we've talked about it, like getting back up. You can learn a lot through failure, even if sometimes it's not actually failure. Something can succeed, but you might feel like, oh, it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, or I didn't get this part just right? That's okay. Take it as is.
Failing is you have to fail before you succeed.
And if you learn something, you're always failing forward.
Exactly.
So, take what you can, work with what you have, keep pushing, and flip stones. If that's not already a quote by someone out there, I have this inner feeling that one day it's going to be in a quote somewhere. We're going to see it. We're going to walk into like a student library. Someone's just going to see it. Just flip stones. Or flip as many stones as you can. We'll work on the exact wording.
We'll work on the exact wording.
Yeah, but it'll be up there. AJ Garces. And some kid's going to be like that. Like, man, he might be onto something. So
I don't know who he is, but he'll be onto something.
But thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, dude. Anytime.
It was a revelation. A lot of maybe world first right here on the Prime News Channel, obviously. No, but I'm glad we got to sit down, talk, hang out.
Me too.
And, you guys are good too, Internet. Come here.
Give them all a big old hug.
Yeah.
Keeping it fresh.
Big kiss, little hug.
Little keys. Big keys.
I have to watch Nacho Libre again now.
Me too.
All right. Thank you guys, folks. If the people are interested, which they should be from what they've heard, where can they find some more of the AJ?
I'll throw them my good ones. Instagram at the AJ Garces, and then TikTok at the AJ Garces. Very easy. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/AJ Garces.
Awesome. It's so nice. We had to say it thrice, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you check it out. All that stuff will be in the description. You guys have an amazing rest of your week. I love you very much. Thank you for the continued support, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.